This Sunday is the first Sunday of Advent, Year A. The Gospel is taken from St. Matthew chapter 24, verses 37 through to 44. Jesus said to his disciples, "As it was in Noah's day, so will it be when the Son of Man comes. For in those days, before the flood, people were eating, drinking, taking wives, taking husbands, right up to the day Noah went into the ark. And they suspected nothing till the flood came and swept all away. It will be like this when the Son of Man comes. Then of two men in the fields, one is taken, one left. Of two women at the millstone grinding, one is taken, one left. So stay awake, because you do not know the day when your master is coming. You may be quite sure of this, that if the householder had known at what time of the night the burglar would come, he would have stayed awake and would not have allowed anyone to break through the wall of his house. Therefore, you too must stand ready, because the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect." The Gospel of the Lord. So, my friends, Advent. It's a season of the church I have come to associate with a popular TV programme. You could even call it an institution. Doctor Who. Why, I hear you ask? Because the liturgy over the 4 weeks and Sundays of Advent takes us through time, to the future, to the present, and to the past. The Gospel of this Sunday invites us to stay awake, but it does so looking to the future and warning us that in some undetermined and unknown time, Jesus is going to come. We do not know the day our Master is coming. We do not know the day of the second coming of Jesus. We believe that he will not be in a stable, but rather he will come in power and glory to bring an end to time and to bring judgment. The problem with this message is that most of us are consumed at this time with the big day 4 weeks away, Christmas Day, and the need to get ourselves organised. Our gifts, our cards, Christmas dinner, where are we going, what are we going to eat. But yet, the liturgy of Advent does not focus on the Christmas story of 2,000 years ago until the 17th of December onwards. This Sunday is the first Sunday of Advent. After the first week of Advent, the next 2 Sundays will present the figure of St. John the Baptist and his ministry, which again, in terms of the Christmas story, is an anomaly, because it takes place 30 years after the birth of Jesus. The timeline is not connected to the story of Jesus' birth. But yet the themes of John's ministry are very connected. The good news, though, is those themes are for another sermon and another preacher. Are you confused? Doesn't it feel like a Doctor Who episode where we do not know where we are in all of this, past, present, and future? So let us try to make sense of this liturgy of the first Sunday of Advent. First of all, the future. It is not under our control. We do not know the day the Master is coming. So let's not worry about it. Let go and let God. The past, yes, it is good to remember it. It is good to honour and celebrate it. It is good to learn the lessons of it. It is good to acknowledge and give thanks for the way in which God was present and the lessons of Jesus' birth, what those lessons continue to teach us today. But the present is where we're at, the here and now. This is the important time, and we are encouraged to stay awake. That was mentioned in the Gospel. And in the second reading of this weekend from Paul's letter to the Romans, we hear that salvation is near. Salvation is now. And he goes on to speak of the importance of living good and moral lives. He warns against greed and too much. No drunkenness, no promiscuity, no licentiousness is what we will hear from Paul's letter to the Romans this weekend. Stay awake. Pray. Stay awake. Give and create time in your lives for God. Stay awake. Look to be there for those who are poor and in need. They are in our midst. Stay awake. Be aware of the impact that our lives, our way of life, our decisions have on our planet. You see, the greatest challenge, the greatest enemy to be confronted aren't the Daleks or even evil Time Lords or any other of the fantastic opponents Doctor Who comes up against. The greatest enemy at times and the greatest challenge is to be found in ourselves, in our hearts, our minds, and our lives. The greatest challenge is to give God a proper place in our lives. The greatest challenge is to avoid pride, greed, and power. The greatest challenge is to live lives based on love of God and love of neighbour. So on this first Sunday of Advent, my friends, stay awake. May God be with you. May God bless this season. Amen.